So this is a roaster oven. It's kind of like a glorified crock pot, only it gets a little hotter, so you can start your veggies and your sauces and then you can lower it and it'll act like a crock pot. You never have to worry about stirring your red gravy all day because it won't stick in this crock pot like environment. So in here I have red bell peppers and onions and celery and garlic and what's almost the last of the basil from our garden for this season. And then I have pork fat back in here. You can get it in the supermarket next to all the hot dogs and stuff like that. Haversack makes this one. Some people have salted. You know, I like just the regular pork fat back. So this is the beginning. The flavors are all getting, you know, happy in the pan. The fat's making the oil, but I added a little bit of olive oil to it. Just to get this going. And then I'll add a can of San Marzano tomatoes. I'll add a can of tomato puree and a can of paste. And so I'll show you when we get to that point as well. It's also important to know there is some garlic in here. So I'm not gonna add more garlic right now, but I am gonna add some salt and pepper to this because this is a lot of the base for the flavor. So you wanna make sure your base is seasoned. Not a lot, a little bit. Okay, so into the roaster oven, now that the base of vegetables have simmered down, I pulled the pork fat back, which means it's already gravy because it's got meat additions to it. And gravy is any sauce whose flavor is changed or enhanced by the addition of drippings of meat, according to Webster. So now we all know we can get along. If it's a sauce, it's a marinade, no meat, and if it's got meat, it's a gravy, red gravy. So I use some San Marzano tomatoes, and I use some tomato puree, and I'm going to add some paste to it as well. And then in there, I will also add salt, pepper, oregano, fresh basil, some more garlic powder, even though there's fresh garlic in there, and red wine, sugar, and let it simmer as it waits for the meatballs to go into their bath. I'm going to bake the meatballs first, and I'll show you how I'm doing that. Take care. Okay, into this bowl, I've diced potato bread, 3 slices of potato bread, and I've added milk to them and a little bit of the red gravy before the meat went into there. And then this will be part of, there will be breadcrumbs in the meatballs, but this is part of it. It'll be like having little gnocchis inside every meatball. It's an amazing little extra added bonus in its texture. It's great to have this little piece, this soft, flavorful bread in the middle of your meatballs. It's really, really a treat. So I'll show you the rest. Okay, now I've chopped up some fresh basil, some fresh parsley, and some arugula. So a lot of people put parsley in, but the basil and arugula, that's my own little twist, and it's really good. So in the bowl, I have ground sausage, and I have the meatloaf mix, which is the beef, the veal, and the pork. And I have 2 eggs, so I'm gonna add the fresh herbs to this, and then I'm gonna add the soaked potato bread, and then I'll add some seasoned breadcrumbs into there as well, and put it all together, and it's going to be super freaking happy. I'll, salt and pepper and a little bit of garlic powder to taste, and then I will bake them in the oven at 350 degrees for about a half an hour, just until the outside is firm enough that it won't fall apart, and then I'll put in the gravy for a nice little bath and lower everything to simmer. Now here's the meatballs. Once they've been assembled, they're on parchment paper. Okay, that way it's so much better than putting it on foil or just on the pan where you have to clean it. They come away clean. It's wonderful for cooking. You should bake cookies and everything on parchment paper. So it's going in the oven at 350 degrees for about a half an hour until the outside gets nice and crisp, and they'll stay stable in the gravy bath. But, looking in on them, look how beautiful they are. All the herbs and the potato bread coming through. It's going to be a wonderful, flavorful, texturous experience. Just delicious. I'm excited. Okay, here they are out of the oven now after a half hour at 350 degrees. And they just look lovely. Now they're going to go into the gravy bath, which is simmering along there on the edges. I'm going to lower this down to simmer about 150, almost off, but not quite. And they will just get happy. As you can see, the fat back is back in, but also in here, I've added a couple of bay leaves, dried bay leaves. At the end, you're going to want to pull them out because They add unbelievable flavor, but they're stringy and tough and overpowering if you were to eat them. They're not poisonous or anything like that. They're great, but it just won't be a great eating experience. So make sure you fish them out or give them to somebody you don't like. So now the meatballs are into the gravy, and you just want to gently turn them in. If you don't get too aggressive, there's a nice piece of fat back. If you get too aggressive with them, you could break them, and you don't want to be a ball breaker. So that's it. I'm putting them in there. It's a little hard for me to do with southpaw and hold the camera, but you get the gist. So we're just going to lightly cover them and get them happy. They're going to simmer on low heat for about 2 hours more, and it's just going to be the bomb. Put it over rigatoni. Yum, yum, yum.